Hey, everybody. Uh, First things first, I want to start this off. Today is November 11th. It's Veterans Day. So I want to start by saying thank you to all of our military veterans out there. Really sincere, truly thank you for your service to our country. You guys are the reason we are who we are today as a country. Thank you for your service to America. From all of us at Game Day Tigers. Myself, Fish isn't here. He is also a veteran, so I know he feels the same way. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Now, welcome to the 2 point convert extra point instead, since there's no fish. Uh, he's on vacation, snorkeling somewhere at Mexico. I don't know what side. I'm not sure if he's the Caribbean side, the Pacific side. Uh, I don't know. He's on a boat. Maybe the boat got kidnapped by pirates. We'll see. He might be back next week. He may not. Stay tuned to find out. Uh, but anyway, since he wasn't here, I figured I'd go ahead and redesign the entire studio. Hope you guys like it. This will be our new home going forward for the rest of football season. The new studio. Hopefully, we can add the retired numbers and names back to the wall. I got to figure out a way to take them down off the old studio and put them up in this one. Um, I was able to get the Heisman trophies here. I was able to carry those over. The win bar, obviously, and the helmet. And because Fish wasn't here, I had to go ahead and spray paint extra point over our normal logo because can't have 2 point conversion with only one person. So we're just the extra point this week. Uh, Maybe next week we can erase the spray paint and go back to our normal sign, but we'll see. Now, before we go to the game from Saturday, let's address the elephant in the room. The situation at LSU and the head coach saga, circus, fiasco, shit show is what this is turning out to be. Not going to spend a ton of time on it here tonight. We'll have time to dive into all of that in more detail somewhere later down the line, just not tonight. As we mentioned before, Brian Kelly has been fired. Scott Woodward, the athletic director, has been fired. Verge Osbury is maybe the AD. They said he's the interim AD and then removed the interim and he's the permanent AD, but he's not permanent. He's the acting, but he is permanent. So I'm not really sure what his actual official title is, but he's the athletic director right now. LSU has a new system president now and the interim coach, Frank Wilson. But what was announced earlier today is Brian Kelly is now suing LSU for the full amount of the buyout owed to him, which is 53, $54 million, somewhere around there. LSU is countering that by saying that they, technically speaking, haven't formally fired Brian Kelly yet, and they will fire him with cause and not owe him any buyout. Uh, I'm not really sure how that's going to play out because they came on national TV and said that they fired him effective immediately back last few days of October. Uh, who knows? I don't even get that particular stance from LSU, but that's the ground they're standing. So we've managed to take what was already pretty bad. I mean, let's face it, this didn't look pretty prior to today. It didn't look good from LSU standpoint, and it's just gotten worse now. Um, it's probably going to end up being very ugly because there's already one lawsuit been filed. I'm sure LSU is going to have to file a counter or fight this lawsuit. Either way, this is probably going to get ugly before it's all settled and goes away. I don't really see at this point how it just disappears. So that's probably off the table now. This, hey, let's just negotiate behind closed doors, come up with a settlement, and go on our merry way. Uh, I'm pretty sure that ship has sailed now. Once lawsuits and lawyers get involved, that typically kind of gets rid of those types of negotiations. Um, how is this going to affect the new search for a new coach? I, Look, I really don't know. This is just me looking at it, but I don't really see how anything that's transpired so far is a positive for LSU. Uh, it just does not look good, and the way we're being portrayed in the national media does not look good. This is not the way to go about getting things accomplished. It's pretty much a masterclass in how not to go about firing your coach so far at this point. Uh, Obviously, I hope this doesn't have a negative effect on finding and hiring the new guy, but we won't really know until we get to that point. Um, that'll be sometime in the future. I'm sure Fish and I will do one of these and discuss candidates, who's out there, who do we want, who's LSU looking at, rumors, all of that. We'll get to all of that sometime in the next month or so, give or take. Now, let's get on to the game. Saturday night, LSU lost to Alabama, 20-9 in Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. Fall to 5-4 overall, 2-4 in conference play. Um, First game after Kelly was fired, first game with Frank Wilson as interim head coach. And to be honest, you saw what you typically see with an interim coach. Things look different. They weren't fixed because you can't just fix issues, not on the fly and not with only 2 weeks to go with an interim staff. That's just, you're not. But things look different. The defense, I felt, played with a little bit more of an edge than what they had been. The offense play calling was different. We seemed to actually focus on attempting to use running backs to run the football. We saw a lot more screenplays. We went from a team that ran screens so seldom that we even had reporters asking Kelly if there was a screenplay in the playbook to I felt we actually ran too many of them Saturday night. Maybe be nice to find a happy median somewhere, a little middle ground from none to too much and kind of find some in the middle. We also saw LSU move the pocket around, which is one of the best ways to help out a struggling quarterback behind a struggling offensive line. They rolled the quarterback to Nuss to they rolled the pocket to Nussmeier's throwing arm, which is what you want to do. And it did create more opportunities to throw the ball. It gave him a little extra time. We still can't throw the ball deep for some reason. I don't know if Nuss completed anything above 6, 7 yards, maybe. Might have been one longer than that, somewhere mixed in, but it's just not, it's something for whatever reason we haven't figured out a way to do. So, overall grade for Coach Frank first game, I'll give him a not bad. I'm not going to do a letter grade, but let's go with a not bad. I mean, you went on the road against a top five team and you lost by 11. That's admirable. I mean, we don't do moral victories, but if that's what you're looking for, I think Coach Frank did okay. Wasn't bad. We weren't embarrassed. We didn't get blown out. We didn't just collapse and fall apart like we did against both Vandy and A&M. And we fought till the end. The game was still within reach till late in the fourth quarter when Bama kicked a field goal to go up and put it up 2 scores. Game was within reach. It was right there for us, which brings up one of the main things that you can't really fix as an interim with 2 weeks' time. And that's your overall identity. It's who you are, it's your culture, it's your DNA. And unfortunately for LSU, this team's DNA is shooting themselves in the foot. And we saw that pretty much most of the night, all night, actually. It kind of started from the very beginning. Defense comes out, Bama gets the ball first, defense comes out and forces a turnover on downs, which is great. It's what you want. You get the ball at very good field position and you already got your stop. So now you got a chance to go out there and take the lead. And LSU did. They drove the field, drove down, got themselves in position, and shanked the field goal. Uh, the guy rushing from the left end got a clean break. He got a wonderful jump. Give him credit for timing the snap perfectly. Got a really good jump. But our left tackle didn't even touch him. Didn't reach out, didn't shove him, didn't bump him, nothing. Gave him a clean release coming around. Ramos saw it. He rushed the kick and he pushed it left. So instead of starting out 3-0, you're still 0-0. Defense stepped up and got another stop though and forced Alabama to punt. LSU gets the ball back, finally hit a tight end running up the middle. Perfect. He hit Bauer sharp as he's cutting across, tries to make a guy miss, gets the ball punched out of his hands. Fumble, Alabama recovers it, and instead of a first down, moving the chains and offense rolling, get the momentum going, you gave the ball back. And give the defense credit. They stepped up. Alabama actually lost yardage on that drive. I think they ended up with -2 for the drive, but they had the ball down in our territory and kicked a quick field goal, and now Alabama's up 3-0. It should have been 3-3 without the missed field goal. Without the fumble, maybe we punt and Alabama, doesn't even get that, and you're still 0-0. But you're now down. You're now losing on the road, and the main reason you're losing is because things you did wrong, not necessarily anything Bama did. Bama does get credit for punching the ball out from Bauer Sharp. It was a great way of tackling, but that's not Bauer Sharp's first fumble. So kind of maybe has a little issue holding on to the football there. Oh, and that pretty much kind of wrapped up, explained how the rest of that night was gonna go. It just LSU was not ever able to finish without shooting themselves in the foot. Like I said, oh, going in, starting the second half, we get a good drive going, get down inside the 10. It's first and goal, which if you're an LSU fan, obviously you probably are if you're watching this. That's been a curse. First and goal is the worst thing you want to hear when LSU's on offense. And true to form, we go backwards. Garrett Nussmeier takes the worst sack I've ever seen. And the only reason this is the worst sack is because it passed up the previous worst sack I've ever seen, which was also taken by Garrett Nussmeier. So he gets the ball, he's rolling to his right. We're moving the pocket right, just like I mentioned, it's one of the things you do. And for I can't come up with a single good reason. He literally stops, turns around, and runs directly into Alabama's defensive end in the backfield. uh, Stay going right. You have options there. You can throw the ball away. You could possibly run and gain a yard or two. Maybe somebody gets open and you have at least an attempt at a forward pass somewhere. I mean, shit, you can run out of bounds and only lose 1 or 2 yards. No, he turns around, and while turning around, he turns backwards upfield and gets sacked. A huge loss. We end up losing 18 yards, go from first and goal inside the 10 to the ball's back on the 27-yard line, and we're kicking a long field goal. That's just it was so bad that actually ended up being Nussmeier's last snap. Probably cost him his starting gig. I would hope lost him the starting gig. I'll touch base on that a little bit later, but that was it was inexcusable, especially for a fifth-year senior, a second-year starter, son of a coach, a guy who was very high up on the Heisman boards beginning of the season. That was just not a good decision at all. One of the worst I've seen. And if Frank Wilson let him have it whenever he got to the sideline, and he should have. At this point, you can't make that mistake. That's just not acceptable anymore. So he got benched from that point, and it became Michael Van Buren's team. Yeah, give him a shot. And credit to Michael Van Buren. The offense looked different when he comes in. It looked it looked more comfortable. It looked more crisp. Everything just seemed to flow better. Now we're going against a very good Alabama defense, so of course that only gets you so far. But Van Buren's first possession, he has a chance to run for a first down. And honestly, it took replay review to take it from him. I thought he had it. Even watching replay, I really thought he got it. Um, they did apply the rule correctly. It's where you start sliding, not where your knees hit. And it was close. I mean, we're talking a foot, maybe, if that, on a football field. And they needed super slow-mo replay to take away the first down. But LSU still had a chance. It's at that point, 4th and 1. You're at the part of the field where going for it is an absolute option. You now have a mobile quarterback. Your running game's doing well because Well, Harlem Berry averages over 5 yards a carry every time he touches the ball. So you've definitely got a shot. But in typical LSU fashion, O lineman moves and false start. So now it's 4th and 6 instead of 4th and 1, and you have to punt. So another somewhat promising drive has ended because well, shot ourselves in the foot. It's a broken record at this point, but that's what it is. Another example, same very next possession. Van Buren leads LSU on a nice drive, gets them down inside the 10. Once again, 1st and goal. LSU fans' worst nightmare. LSU has the ball, 1st and goal, 7 yard line. Uh, False start, sack, incompletion. We're now back at the 20. Lose 13 yards. Have to kick another field goal. I mean, sure, you walk away with 6 on those 2 possessions, but you could have had 14. So, that's a swing. That's an 8 point swing right there that you could have had in a game you lost by 11. That means the game's still a one possession game at the end if you just punch it in instead of going backwards. It's I wish I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know our red zone percentage right now, our touchdown percentage in the red zone has got to be atrocious. We've got to be one of the worst in the SEC at it, if not the worst. It's becoming almost comical at this point how bad we are at scoring touchdowns. We score them from further away, not very often because, well, we don't score more than 25 in a game, but that's one of those big hiccups right there is something we need to figure out a way to fix. Figure out a way to score. You get the ball down there, we need to start punching it in somehow, some way. Field goals aren't going to cut it, especially not when you play against a team like Alabama. We still have a very good Oklahoma team left on the schedule. Uh, Hell, I mean, Arkansas is not a shoe in right now for us to beat. So we really need to figure out a way to start punching it in once we get down that way. It's just something that has to be fixed somehow. Can we do it before the end of the year? Hell, I don't know. We'll see. Oh, and just to show what kind of night it was, a couple possessions later, Ty Simpson for Alabama throws a pass that's batted at the line. It hits Jamari Butler right in the hands for what should have been an interception. We should have had the ball in Alabama territory. With a shot at that point, it was still a one-score game. With a shot to tie, maybe possibly take the lead. He doesn't catch it. An Alabama offensive lineman does. Bama goes down, kicks a field goal, and makes it an 11-point game. At that point, it was pretty much too late in the game to say that we were going to get the ball back twice and score twice. So that pretty much ended it for us at that point. But hey, got to give them credit for fighting it out and scrapping to the end and keeping this game within reach all the way to the end. So Frank Wilson, your grade for game one is not bad. Not to give you a letter grade, I'll say that wasn't bad. We at least look like we have a fighting shot the rest of the way now. And I don't know. We'll see. It's mid-November. We're still fighting for bowl eligibility right now, which is kind of scary. Good thing is we do have Arkansas and Western Kentucky up next, which Arkansas, like I mentioned, is definitely not a shoe-in, but it's a winnable game for sure. Western Kentucky will obviously be favored against. Winnable game for sure. Uh, and I do believe, like I said, I think we're making a quarterback change here. So now Michael Van Buren's got a full week with the ones. He should run with the starters all week long. Every single snap at any starters take anywhere in practice, every single meeting, it should be Van Buren all the way across all week long. Give him his first start. It's at Tiger Stadium. It's a day game, but at least it's a home game against Arkansas, who is statistically the worst defense in the SEC across the board. Pass, rush, total, scoring. Arkansas's defense is bad. Uh, if you have to change quarterbacks midseason, this is the time to do it. A home game against a dreadful defense. And Van Buren is not, he's not a rookie. I mean, he started 7 games for Mississippi State. So Not like you're breaking in somebody completely green who has to figure out football on the fly. No, he knows what SEC football is. It's just to get him on the same page, get him in rhythm with the starters, with your center, the cadence on his snap counts, get him his timing down with receivers, to let him run with the ones and let him go out there and see what he can do. Oh, my opinion, he's definitely earned the right to start at least this coming week. Now, with that said, he's not a cure-all. Starting Van Buren is not going to magically morph this offense into the 2019 or even the 2023 offense. That's not happening. But I think we can be a better offense with Van Buren than what we've seen with Nussmeier. For one, his pocket presence is much, much better than anything Nuss has shown so far this year. He seems to feel the rush good. He steps up in the pocket. He moves around in the pocket very well. And when he throws the ball, he does it with decisiveness. You see, he steps into it and he slings it where he wants to go. He's made his decision. That's where he wants the ball, and he really fires it in there. And we haven't seen that from Nussmeier yet this year. He's seen 10th all year long. And Michael Van Buren, hopefully that can continue going forward as our starter. And then his mobility, it gives you a lot more options. For one, some of the sacks that Nussmeier's taken, I don't think we see those sacks happen with Van Buren. He's a guy who can scramble, who can run and get you those extra yards. And then him being there and being mobile like that actually opens up opportunities for your running backs as well, because now the defense has to key in on the possibility of Van Buren running. They don't have to do that when Nuss is there. So it's basically like having a whole extra guy on the field by having a quarterback who can run. And his ability to run also opens up options in the playbook now. Now, instead of your typical RPO where Nuss fakes the handoff or he goes like he's handing off, he makes a read and decides whether he's handing or a passing. With Van Buren, you can add an extra wrinkle now. Now you can basically run a play, design one that looks exactly the same. Everything will look the same, except Van Buren will have the option to either give or keep and run. Uh, Obviously, we're not going to do that very often with Nussmeier, but you can with Van Buren. You could turn it into a read option or like a zone read, power read type option play. That's on the table now with Van Buren. Or like I said, he can keep and throw because he has shown he can throw the football. I mean, he started last year in the SEC. He's not Joe Burrow, but he could throw the football. He can possibly move this offense. And with that option on the table, the offense just looks smoother. Can we, with a week under him, can this offense maybe actually turn themselves into something adequate, okay, decent? If we just do that, we could easily win two of the next three. Defense continues playing like what they played Saturday night. Hell, who knows? We could shock the world and take out Oklahoma in the final week of the season. We're not that far off. It looks bad because, yeah, sure, we've lost three in a row and four of the last five, but again, we just went to Alabama and only lost by 11. Couple of small things adjusted here or there gets fixed. All of a sudden, we might actually be okay. I mean, honestly, it's turning into anything great, but we could at least be okay, which okay is definitely better than bad, and bad is what we've been seeing. So I'm kind of actually anxious to see what happens this weekend. I want to see what Michael Van Buren does as the guy. Really hoping to hear an announcement soon that he is the guy, that he'll be our starter. Harlem Berry as the starting running back. I'm hoping to hear what Weeks comes back. And if we're all of a sudden healthy, looking a little different, kind of have a few extra options and wrinkles up our sleeves, I mean, maybe we can get out there and get ourselves up to 8 wins, 7 or 8 wins this season, which will be kind of impressive considering where we were just 2 weeks ago. Uh, Frank Wilson, you get us to 8 wins, I will definitely be impressed. I will tip my cap and say thank you, sir. Probably won't want you as the permanent head coach, but you will get a hat tip at least, bare minimum. Oh, so like I said, 'cause this weekend you got Arkansas coming in. Their defense is dreadful, but their offense is good. So Blake Baker will have to have his game face on. We're gonna have to do something. Good thing is it's a home game. Bad thing is it's an 11:45 start, which is just horrible. A November game with a pre-noon kickoff in Tiger Stadium. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be a rather docile and subdued crowd. Don't know what the weather's looking like yet. I hadn't looked at the weather, but this is not going to be one of the famous Death Valley crowds that we talk about for years to come. That's just not happening. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully the crowd shows up, makes some racket. Hopefully the team comes out there fired up. Uh, Van Buren comes out and I hope he plays the game of his life. I would love for him to. I'd love to come out here next week with Fish and say, man, you know what? I was wrong. I said Van Buren would definitely make things better, but wouldn't be an instant cure-all flip of the switch. Nah, shit, I hope I'm wrong. And we say, man, this guy's Jaden Daniels again. Don't see it happening, but shit, I didn't see Jaden Daniels turning into Jaden Daniels, so I've been wrong before. Uh, but anyway, come on over, visit us at GameDayTigers.com. We're starting to get a good bit of action on the board. We're talking about the coaching situation, talking about just the overall in general coaching carousel going on around the whole damn country right now. Uh, we will have a game thread up. I'll definitely get that going probably Friday. Saturday morning, come have breakfast with us in the chat room. It'll be before noon. We'll have the chat room up and going. We'll discuss the game and whatever else you feel like chatting about. Come on in. Till then, go Tigers.